Hey, I didn't have to heal. The auto heal largely picked me back up. Boy, have I gotten stronger. So yeah, it turns out the cave I went into in literally the first episode is the ending. So, funny that. Probably switch that shield. I don't think I'm gonna be using that lantern much around here. Maybe I'll finally use a shield for the first time in the entire playthrough in the last room. I remember how to use them, kind of. What are you hammering, exactly?
Welcome to our final and greatest act. The preparations are complete. Let us now awaken the Ashen together. Watch the Ashen's eye as I inscribe these sacred runes. It will choose a guardian from among us, its strongest and most loyal protectors. Chosen its guardian. It has chosen you.
You lived like a fool and died like a fool, Bataran. It is time you learned my true name, child. For I consumed Bataran's darling little sister long ago. I am the foreboding dust. I am the beguiling night. I am Sissna, the spinner of shadows.
Oh. That's why you wouldn't let me have her as a teammate. I see. Nope. Bad dodge. Woohoo! Big AoE you got there. Ow. Ah. Aha! I used my shield to block attacks. What a revolutionary technique. Ow. It doesn't actually last very long. Maybe not the best strategy. Oh no. That's bad. Excuse me. There we go. Please don't die the second time. Does he perma-die the second time? Is that how this works, basically? This is going like, uh-oh. It's going pretty well, so I think she has a second health bar. Oop. Wow, my health just melts. Shit. Uh-oh. Oh no. He's totally gonna die, isn't he? Nope. Oh, wow, my health bar. it gonna be? She's very dodgy. There we go. Who told you you could be a spider? It probably doesn't even work, right? I probably just wasted that, I imagine. You just killed him the hell out of life. He's gone. Ow. Oh my god. Uh oh. I don't want to be alone. Wow, there goes my whole stamina meter in one block. Oh boy. Ah! What? Oh, it's my worst nightmare. I don't even mean the spider part. Although I'm not fond of spiders. No, it's the super long intro fight that's not that hard, but takes a long ass time just to gain access to a second phase boss fight that's shockingly hard, where they just... Oh no, there's so... Oh no! It's everything that I'd be... You asshole. She's right here. I can see her. So on top of having to do the entire dungeon and the entire first phase first, which are both easy, but take like... Going by how long this recording has been going, it takes about 10 minutes just to do that. To clear the dungeon and fight the boss. And then have to do a phase 2 of the boss. And that phase 2 looks very hard to learn. Looks like it's very aggressive and has a lot of attack range and burns through your health like crazy and kills your teammate immediately, so you're alone. And I died in seconds. And so it's gonna it's the worst thing ever. No. This is always my worst nightmare in these kinds of games, is when there's a whole bunch of crap you have to get through every single attempt on your way to a thing, all so that you can try to do the thing, but the thing is so kind of difficult that it can, like, take you out in one little combo. Oh, man. Okay. Here we go. There's a whole area where you have to be pretty thorough too, especially if you want to have an ally. Because if you want your ally to be any help, then you need to be sure to clear this area manually. Because if I try to skip ahead and run past the stuff, my ally usually gets killed along the way. And if he gets killed, then I don't have an ally. Which just means that I use up more healing potions during phase 1. Because I'll have more trouble with it. Which just gets me in more trouble all around. Wow, you are like impossibly weak, by the way. Like, this guy doesn't belong in this cave. I don't know how there even are humans to be getting in fights in this cave. Please don't fall off. Ooh. Ah! Sneaky little attacks. Oh! My toes! So Batsaran, after all this, dies. He just gets super murdered. Alright, phase 1 of the boss fight complete. The walk there. Then phase 2, which is phase 1. And then phase 3, which is die. That's some damage. Oh boy. Yeah. They gave these guys such charitably wide attack ranges. But they're so good at attacking you when you're behind them. Fall in! No? That'd be amazing. No! Shit. He died already. Ow. Ah. Damn it. God damn. Damn it. Ow. Ah. She can't fall off, I don't think. I can't tell. I can't tell if I'm just out of practice from not playing a lot of them lately, in part because the main series is done for now. As far as Dark Souls, as far as my skills with Dark Souls games goes. Like, I don't know if I'm just so out of practice that I just suck at them now. And this is something that would have been easy for me if it was 2014 or 2015 or whenever that sweet spot was, where I was marathoning both Dark Souls 2 Call of the First Sin and Bloodborne back to back. Or if these boss fights just have fewer, like, less telegraphing of their attacks or sloppier mechanics or not. Like, I actually can't tell if it's me or the game. And it's probably a little bit of both, would be one guess. But damn, am I just having so much trouble in this game against any boss fight after the first couple, basically. Not even the first few. Like, the first fight was easy. The guy in the shadows that went inside the walls. But ever since that one guy, every single boss fight has been making it relatively difficult for me to just consistently do attacks in between their attacks and then evade or block their attacks. As far as blocking goes, it doesn't seem like a great strategy because she can burn right through my stamina in 2 hits, so that doesn't seem very reliable. And I have like what was like practically the second best shield on my in my list of options. So evading seems to be the thing, and I can't get it down. And it's probably just that I'm out of practice. And usually it'd be more in practice by now just because you've gotten this far, but I guess there's 2 mitigating factors. There's the fact that I have a co-op partner all the time, and since I always have a co-op partner, I don't have to dodge as much or really do any of the stuff I'm doing right now. But also there's just very few boss fights, so there hasn't been a lot of practice in terms of fighting this kind of enemy where you have to hit him where this kind of endurance is required. There's so many healing items and heal over time effects and allies and so on that a proper endurance fight where you have to just be able to hit a guy a ton of times while not getting hit in return is just a whole other thing. Alright, new build. To some extent. Still very, I mean, I can't. I'm not gonna farm for new weapons. Not that I have any particular reason to think I should anyway. But I've got that armor on we found earlier, the cel-shaded, which in particular has the downside of 25... It has the really big stamina cost plus 50% problem. But my old system was 20%. This is 50%. And I believe I've taken it down... I don't know. How's this calculated? I don't remember. Shit. I'll check the old videos. I don't know if this is before or after the penalty, the number it shows here. I imagine this is what the armor always says. Anyway, I equipped the thing that lets me have 25% reduced stamina penalties. There we go. So I think that takes it from 50 to 25, which means it's only 5% worse than my old armor. There's other negatives, but I'm trying to switch to armor that can help me against the boss from just dying so fast that I can't do anything about it. I've got Axung Hominis equipped, which is a weird thing I'll get into a second, but you have a 15% chance from kills to get a Axung Hominis. I might have to farm more for these, unfortunately, but that's a thing. I still have Seer on. I think healing over time gradually can kind of help sometimes, but it's hard to tell. And then this is +2 heals. It makes sense to me. I don't know if 5% health and 5% stamina are necessarily worth dedicating an entire slot to, just because it's not the most amount. And I changed my relic back to Yukota's Guile, because it'll add... It's 5 damage per orb, right? Yeah, 5 orbs, capping out at 25 damage total. It's per hit, so me switching to a faster weapon actually made this a better upgrade, because now I attack more often, and that +5 is added to every individual attack. So something that's on hit has a higher DPS bonus for faster weapons. This is useless. This is Scoria Gain's pretty useless. Geffin's Blessing is neat for exploring and everything, but I think my average time to taking a hit is often during a boss fight that it'll either happen when it's on stage 1 damage resistance, which is after 15 seconds, or before that, and then it resets. So the blessing's not helping me during the boss fight. And I don't think I'm gonna do fully charged attacks during a boss fight, or stealth. So it pretty much means Yukota's Guile is like the one option to help me during a boss fight. So that's my current setup. I went through all 4 of these, right? Yeah, stamina penalties, Axung Hominis, health, over time, and swigs. So that's my current setup. Character's appearance has changed a bit again. This is what Axung Hominis is. This rendered mixture of fat and ash can be collected from recently killed people. The Therian priests once consumed this during their most sacred ceremonies. Few now would consider it a reasonable substance to consume. Taking with people's lives. Now that's where the past took a wrong turn. Floker. So it heals 50% of your health, and you lose 20 maximum health. So freaky, right? You gain half your health, lose 20. From what I've read, it's not a permanent loss. It's you lose 20 health into 20 of your max, not 20% of your max health, but just 20 as a flat number of your max health, and you lose it until you rest at a shrine place. Let's see. How many of these slots are open right now? I gotta put some of these things back. Put some of these things back. There we go. What's a Lincoln Bear to do again? Lincoln berries are juicy and sweet, and many have wondered why the Raffets don't eat them. I'm guessing they're fermented, apparently. Stamina regeneration minus 50%? Jeez. So for 30 seconds, you just lose half your stamina regen. A negative is... It is worse, right? I'm pretty sure it's worse. It's one of those things where the terminology can get confusing, because if you talk about it in terms of like you lose half of your regeneration, and by that you mean like the rate at which it regenerates, then it would be worse. But if you mean you lose half your regeneration, as in half of the time it takes to regenerate, then that would be better. And I have definitely seen games that go both ways on that terminology, which is very frustrating of what they mean by numbers. Reminds me of the weird thing of like, there was that one version of D&D that some games were based on where armor rating was bad. If you had a positive number for your armor score, you were worse than a negative number, because they were talking about the armor score was the modifier to your opponent's chance to hit, and it's very confusing. Problem with having two axes is I mix up their icons and then start switching the wrong ones. One thing is I do need to confirm, I'm going to be confirming in the field during a fight how this healing item actually works, because I don't know if it's instant or over time, and it doesn't, the description doesn't say, I believe. Yeah, it just says 50%, which I don't know. Some people thought the lightning effect meant instantaneous, but I don't know if that's true either. I'm not sure if I'm convinced that that's the case either. I don't know. Die. Building up those nasty orbs. So for context, yeah, that's a big deal. I have to not get hit, obviously, for it to count, but this is 137 damage, and I'm getting plus 25 to that. That's a significant overall percentage of bonus damage if I can swing, if I can chain together hits without getting hit back during a boss fight, which is admittedly also easier with a faster weapon. There's more Axing Hominis. Hopefully the repeated clearing of this area will help me kind of farm what I need as I go. Sissna, Sissna, calm down. There we go. I wanted my stuff. It's a heal over time. Yes, that went way faster. Oh God. Yeah. Oh. Why do I bother? Ah. I probably overutilized that heal. God damn. I just can't avoid these attacks. God damn it. It's part of the reason I unequipped all of the items, all of the things that make me rely on Jokal in any way. I get any bonuses from him. He just dies. The moment phase 2 starts, he gets killed, and if I revive him, he gets killed again immediately. I'm like, alright, cool, thanks. And it's weird because she has such wide swinging attacks that hit every particle around her. Like, there's not really angles that seem very safe because of how wide all of her attacks swing. Almost like she's designed for co-op. But then your co-op partner can't survive because your co-op partner just gets shredded immediately. So I'm like, why can't I dodge to the side around these attacks? But it seems like the attacks just go all around. Ow. Wow, that used to do damage. Now I have a healing factor. But I probably overutilized the heal. Yeah. Because over the course of the fight I kept using that one heal. I should probably only use it a couple of times overall. In part to, like, maybe mitigate my need for other healing. Because I think it's best to use the new type of special heal in the first phase to mitigate how much I have to use my main heal in this, so that I have more left over for the second phase. Because if I use it too many times over the course of the whole fight, then it adds up. That minus 20 health eventually becomes like, I probably... Oh yeah, I used all of them. Over the course of that fight, I lost 140 hit points, I would say. And that snowballed. Joko, come on. Be a teammate for a second. I'm trying to conserve these health items for round 2. If only I could drown her the way that my teammate can drown in this level. At least start phase 2 faster or something. There it goes. Speak of the devil. Yep. Thanks, teammate. Big thanks. Ah. Alright. Just gonna slowly keep grinding away till I'm dead inside. Dead inside. That seems exploitable if you can put her back to the wall. You might be able to actually grind her down a bit because she mostly dodges by going backwards. No. Ow, shit. What the fuck? Jokel? 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 My head's glitching through my shield. Jesus. It's wearing me down a little bit, having to clear the dungeon and go through phase 1. And then for all I know, phase 2 might one-shot me like that, and I'm just like, I'm wearing good armor now, and it still basically one-shot me. One fluke, and then you start the whole process over. If I sound extra impatient compared to normal, although I don't know if I do, because it's easy to forget that I get all ranty and frustrated plenty with the various Dark Souls and Souls-like games, and on this channel, ow. On this channel, I've done something in the ballpark of like 800 videos on Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Demon Souls. And then a few hundred other episodes on Souls-likes like Neo and Lords of the Fallen and The Surge and so on, Salt and Sanctuary, and this. Necropolis. Each time, it's easy to forget that I was just as ranty before when I was frustrated. And all that. But if I sound more frustrated than normal, which because I don't know if I do, it's because I also got stuck on the last level of Mario Odyssey. So I've been going back and forth between Ashen and Mario Odyssey, not being able to make progress in either of them, and I'm like, I got a schedule to keep. I gotta beat this shit, and it's not happening. So I've been frustrated with 2 of the 6 games, or well, not 6 games because Let's Try isn't one game. So of the 5 playthroughs I'm doing at any given moment, 2 of them, which is almost half of them, are frustrating and stuck. And I'm like, no, leave me alone. Here we go. I love watching this guy die over and over again. Never mind, she can infinitely dodge if she's pinned against a wall. She just becomes invincible even though you're hitting the shit out of her. No, this is my dash. I'm not moving or anything, but this is my infinity dash. As you can tell, I'm dodging by standing in the attack. Ow. Oh no. She's fighting back. Sometimes she'll power through and sometimes she won't when I'm hitting her. I'm not really ever fully ready. Oh, you're focused on me. Okay. What? I was directly behind you. Uh-oh. No. Get me. No. Finally sort of gave in to running through the whole thing. And kind of got it right. You have to really watch out for the exploding person. The exploding person wants you to fall off that cliff very badly. I got tired of clearing that dungeon because Joka will just die sometimes and fall off a cliff, where at least if I run through the whole thing, you'll kind of teleport to me sometimes, which is better off. Dude started just falling off cliffs. I'm like, I need you for phase 1, dude. Come on. Please. Alright, phase 2. Highly variable outcomes in that phase. Okay. Come on. I'm sprinting around her and she still gets me. No. Don't kill him yet. God, he's never lasted this long. I think it's because I'm hugging her more, so she keeps getting confused. No, don't kill him now. Oh no, my stamina. Oh no. No. He didn't run over. She didn't run him over this time to death. Oh my god. Are you gonna keep doing that? God, him staying alive changes everything. Get away. Can I get you away from the water, actually? So you don't drown again? As you're prone to do. Ow. What? You are not sufficiently attacking behind yourself with that animation. No, you killed him with that? Shit. Damn it. Jokel. She was doing the super slow walk attack and you died to that? Where's the camera going? The camera keeps not being locked on anymore. Why is it doing that? What camera? Stop. Camera. Oh, you're still here. Maximum asshole achieved. Nope. I fucked up all my D-pad commands. There we go. No, that one. Okay.
Wander no more, for the Ashen sees you, and the bright light that burns within. You are the Guardian. It is a heavy mantle to bear, yet I know you have the courage to carry it. I leave knowing that humanity will protect the Ashen for as long as the light endures. Do not mourn my passing, for my echo will ever linger in this world. The threads that bind us are strong, spun as they are in this new age of light.
It's over. I do think it started to click at the end a little bit more, in that I kind of would just kind of do one at the end of one of her combos. I would dodge in, spam attack like 2 or 3 times, and then basically just mindlessly spam dodge until I was out again, because she has so many attacks that the safest thing to do is just to spam roll until you're completely out of her range again, hopefully, and then kind of stand around for 20 seconds, not that long, but stand around for a while to recover your stamina from scratch each time, because it doesn't seem feasible to me to actually dodge the individual attacks the way you might in other games. There's so many happening at once usually. But really the biggest thing is just keeping Jokel alive, which is something that's really hard for me to control. The best I can come up with is that if I really crowd her back and just really like just constantly bother her back there, even if I'm not attacking, she does keep kind of indecisively switching between us, which can help keep Jokel alive longer, so that he doesn't get focused down too fast. But you can't save the AI from itself sometimes. Like that giant spammy attack where she slowly walks forward. I'm like, oh, I wonder how you avoid this. Is it you walk away from her? No, Jokel just took it in the face and died. I'm like, alright, cool. And the multiple times he drowned, and the multiple times he died on the way there through the cave. It's like, dude, come on, man. This game is balanced around the idea of you being here. Because this game is co-op by nature, even if you're stuck with the AI. That's really driven home by the fact that you need a second character to open doors, and you need, and the guys on the cover, for starters. The cover of the game is two people standing together, as opposed to the usual, like, Surge, Lords of the Fallen, Dark Souls covers that are all like one lonely person sitting in a bonfire or whatever. This one specifically is advertised around the two people, which is rough because you can't play the whole game just by joining up with somebody. Like, there's no like multiplayer lobby where you're like, you, my friend, let's play this game together in a shared world state. You have to do the whole multiplayer thing where it kind of finds you people at random via journey, and the best you can do is set a password like in Dark Souls 3 and Bloodborne, but even then I don't think you can directly command the multiplayer to do what you want it to do. They just kind of, you just hope you get the two of you link up correctly, which is probably somewhat doable, but it's rough. So you kind of gotta rely on these AI characters that just die. In particular, I had multiple times where I'm trying to get through that cave, and Jokel would just start running into a wall. And I'm like, you can't pass through the cave? Shit. Overall, the game's really neat, but also really, really flawed. There's a few things that stand out. Like, one, there's only like 5 bosses total, and the bosses are such a mixed bag of like great and not great within the same boss. Like, every single one of them has a really cool design and arena and visual. Like the giant character swinging a lantern at you, the guy that comes down from the chandelier, this enemy, the spider boss, like the way that the character that Sissna consumed is like flailing around on the back. Like, once the spider part comes out after the transformation, you can see the torso of her body kind of ragdolling behind her, because it's just kind of hanging off. Like, there's a lot of cool visuals throughout this and cool boss ideas, but it never felt quite right, and it's hard to explain, and it's hard to say if that's just me or not. I can only just guess, but it never quite clicked in a way that's kind of hard to explain. Something about the movement and telegraphing and the way that your character moves and weird little things. There's definitely some genuine glitches, like how the camera will just change direction mid-fight while you're locked on, and you never lost a lock on. The camera just is freaking out. There's some weird moments like that, but that's not the biggest deal. The main thing, though, is that the whole game looks better than it plays. From the way that your character moves and controls, there's like little nagging doubts in the background of how some of it just doesn't quite feel right. But also the world itself has these striking landscapes that are so cool to look at, but the actual gameplay you're going to do in those areas isn't the most engaging by the standards of this subgenre. Part of me would kind of compare a little bit to Neo, and just that Neo is a game that looked pretty, but especially after the first few levels, a lot of the levels became really low in mechanical details and kind of were just a series of corridors and shapes, and it almost felt like a bunch of mass-produced area for you to fight the same enemies in over and over again, which both this game and that game had an enemy variety issue where you kind of fought the same things in perpetuity. This game does not have a lot of monster creatures, and the ones that it has are pretty rare. Like in particular, there's the crab guy and the other crab guy, and then the wolf are basically the three monsters, and the crawling dude, I guess. And they're all exceptionally rarely used. For the most part, you fight humans, which are marginally different from each other in a few ways. There's the guy that has the leapy attack, and there's the spear throwers, and a few other variations. But a lot of them functionally are characters you fight the same way. This one dodges a bit more, this one has a shield, but like, it's a relatively long game for the amount of enemies it actually has. And so I found myself just wanting to get through each zone, because especially after the midway point, you kind of just started to realize, oh, I'm not going to see more new things. And there's a thing there too with like the discovery. I love exploring the environment usually in this subgenre, but in this one it kind of felt fruitless, both because the exploration wasn't that engaging and because the things you would get as a result weren't that great. It was the same healing consumables over and over again, or the same upgrade items over and over again, of which I already had like 3 times as many as I would ever need. And no amount of exploring would ever give you an edge necessarily, because each zone you enter gives you this deluge of the upgrade item that this zone intends you to have, and then none of the next one. So when I hit the point where it was like, oh, what I need next is a twin branch or whatever it's called. I had 1 total that I got from an obscure corner of the map, and then none at all. And then I had like 70 saps and like 70 regular branches or roots or whatever they were called, but none of the twins. And then the moment I hit the zone where it's like, now it's time to give you twins, immediately I had a dozen of them. Like and I don't need a dozen ever. Like, I don't need that many ever. So it's like but you're like, there's a thing where here, like on the back of your head, you think, oh, if I explore enough, I'll find a really cool special weapon that's like adds a new whole angle to the game. Maybe it has a new move set entirely, or cool lore or something, or maybe you'll find a new spell, but this game doesn't have spells, so that whole angle of discovering new pyromancies and sorceries doesn't exist. You can't be like, I'm gonna find a new potion or special upgrade or anything like that, because all of those are handled exclusively via the people back at town, via doing their quests. So by and large, you really just want to just do their quests and then move on as fast as possible, because you're going to have an overabundance of upgrade items of every tier, whether you look for them or not. And that's the only thing you can really find in the entire environment, because the weapons are all almost entirely parallel. Like, basically there's a light axe, a heavy axe, a light mace, and a heavy mace, and then the spear. And that's basically the weapons of the entire game, with minor differences of this one has slightly lower damage but slightly higher crit, which if you do the math, maybe equates to the same DPS. So it just wasn't exciting to be like, oh, I found a flail. I found a whip that applies bleed. I found this Kamehameha spell. There's no spells, so you can't find spells. So there was a lack of discovery, and the level, while it was pretty looking, actually had a very mundane design to its shape most of the time. There was no like inverted castle from Neo, or the entirety of the Undead Burg, or many other cool zones from other areas, or that crazy moving bridge thing, if that was the final level of Surge, which was the coolest idea the whole game had. None of that, and none of the opening up a series of shortcuts back to your bonfire design concepts were in here at all in the entire game. They never happened, which is incredibly disappointing. There was no sense of Metroidvania level design, no sense of like poking around because you're gonna find this cool secret avenue, and now your route to the boss just changed entirely because you found a new bonfire, or you found a new door that changes the route that's optimum from the bonfire to that place. Every time you see a place, as far as I ever saw in this game, it maintained its surface level appearance. It always stayed as whatever you thought it was at first glance, and that's just kind of a bummer. There's no aha moments, no surprises in the level design. It really is the entire level is a big Nike swoosh shape of map that you proceed through linearly, and in each individual zone you can wander around the fields to pick up more of the same item over and over again and fight more of the same enemy more, or you could just move on once you finish the quests. But there's no like reveals. There's no elevators you activate. There's no ladders to kick down. There's just nothing like that at all. So you just have the given fast travel point or two of each map, and that's it. And that extends even harder to the dungeons, because the dungeons aren't an open field. Because in the open areas, you can just run in a straight line practically to wherever you died, if you do die. So it's not like there's a huge demand for shortcuts because they're so open. But the game has like 3 or 4 actual dungeons, and those areas, like if they feature that stuff, they sure hit it pretty well. Because I didn't find a single instance of like any kind of shortcut you could open up or any kind of sense of progress. Just the basic thing from like the first level of Demon's Souls, where Demon's Souls in particular had this game's design sensibility where they would not give you new checkpoints, period. Every single zone in all of Demon's Souls, you had to beat the entire zone using only the checkpoint you spawned from. But you could keep finding things that would open up the environment more, and tricks that would let you get through it faster. And just none of that really ever applied. There was no 2 side gates that I could open up on the way to the Phalanx Demon as checkpoints and so on. And that's just what I want, generally speaking. And I'm just bummed out when it's not there, because if you don't sell me on the level design, then I just kind of get bummed out. Like the Surge in particular was better at that. And so was Sultan Sanctuary. Necropolis was a procedurally generated game, so it was kind of frankly, that game is a mess for a number of reasons last time we played it. And Neo wasn't necessarily as good at shortcuts past the first level. Neo's first level was the best level of the entire game, basically, up until maybe the inverted castle thing that they did at some point. And the majority of that place, the majority of Neo was actually just a bunch of places to run through, and it was kind of disappointing. Especially the way that every time you played a level, you had to start the whole thing over, so everything respawned and you lost all your checkpoints and you had to re-experience that whole chunk from scratch. It was because it wasn't a continuous world. I don't know. But overall, I would rank this as a positive game. Overall, I'd rank this game positively. It's ways to talk about the various things that stand out to me as issues. It's pretty. It kind of would be nice. A fair amount of this game would be improved by the option of just having a proper co-op lobby. Like you and your buddy go into a little screen and you invite him to your party, and then you start your game and you launch the world and you co-op together, and it's a continuous experience. And maybe you can't get kicked from each other's games. So like maybe there's a penalty on revives. Like maybe the more frequently someone goes down, they eventually get like maybe you get a limited number of lives before you just both die automatically, or maybe you have a punishment respawn timer where if somebody goes down twice, instead of kicking them out, you make it so they can't be revived for 40 seconds or something. So now your co-op partner has to like try to outlast that long. I don't know. I'm just spitballing at this point. I need water because I've been talking continuously for too long. But anyway, guys, this is Ashen. This is Children of Sissna down here. It's supposed to make the whole game harder by making it all the enemies hit harder and you have less health and stamina and so on. I don't think I'm going to play it. I don't think I'm interested in playing the same game with the numbers cranked up. As far as I'm aware, there's no additional content. It's just the difficulty scaled even higher, and I don't think that will really address any of my issues with it, so it won't really I don't think it'll really apply any replay value to the game. So I think I'm ready to move on. So thanks for watching like always, guys, and I'll see you next time.